Then here we go. Meanwhile, in the Gallian continent, at Belforest. And here we are on the Gecko Go, on the bridge. So there's a bit of a disagreement. Holland is calling off their current travel. It's Holland on the left and Tallow on the right. And here's Matthew and Hilda, who both think he's being selfish and cruel by doing this when they're so close to their destination. And Tallow agrees. She reminds everybody that it was Holland's idea for them to travel to Belforest in the first place. And here's Kengo and Hap. And they understand Holland's reservation, and changing his mind right now would accomplish nothing more than further extending the red ink on the budget. But Holland seems deep in thought, and then when Tallow gets in his face, he relents and says that that damn thing should have just disappeared if the world was going to get screwed up this badly. And then Eureka. Eureka! And here in Belforest is Renton. And he's thinking that his sister, that it's already been a full 14 years since he's been born, and absolutely nothing has happened around him. He's getting the feeling that nothing will ever happen in his life. What's the worst kind? Even with all the changes that happened to the world in these last 6 months, it's like this area's been left behind, and he doesn't think that's going to change. And he thinks that's why his elder sister, Diane, left to escape this shitty, boring life. Renton goes home and finds his grandfather, Axel, has a favour to ask of him. He had plans to go lifting, which is just hoverboarding, but Axel tells him they've got a guest, and he'd like Renton to play tour guide in town. And said guest is Setsuko. And Renton immediately, upon the sight of Setsuko, is like, Diane, a beautiful girl came to our house. But yeah, Renton's like, dang it, what a hot babe. But Axel says he found Setsuko in the middle of the road trying to fix her mech and brought her over. And they're looking for something, so Axel would like Renton to escort Setsuko to town and take her to the local UN terminal, see if they can find anything. And Renton takes note that Setsuko's from the outside and he'll help her, but he says, yeah, that he'll, when she's like, thank you for helping him, he's like, of course I'll help, sexy lady! But Renton thinks with the arrival of this beautiful woman in town, his life might make a turn for the better. So, the Universal Network is just the internet, and anyone with the terminal can view or contribute. While connections to individual households are not uncommon in larger cities, it declines with distance from population centres. And it's super good. It's like TV and it's the internet, alright? In town, Setsuko apologises for having him come right back, telling him to come from school. But Renton's like, nah, don't worry, I'll go surfing tomorrow. As they go to the terminal, Setsuko asks for some info. And so she explains what the Universal Network is, because she knows what it is. Rand doesn't know, because he's an idiot, but she knows. And she gives the rundown according to what we did up there. And Renton says there's only one terminal in this backwater town. And he says that being able to see what happening outside only makes living here even more miserable. And then Setsuko asks if Renton grew up in this ground, and he says, yep, he's been here since he was for 14 years. He says that while the Break the World incident did a whole mess on the world at large, this area was mostly unaffected. Nothing happened, nothing changed. Sucks. Tetsuko says that she heard this area was from a world called the Promised Land, and she says she knows somewhere in America that goes by the same name. Renton's Promised Land was on a whole different planet that was colonized by the Earth long ago. So not even like a parallel Earth, just wonk. But they talk about the scub coral and how they had problems with it, and it sucks. And then as for Setsuko, Renton protests that he's only 14 years old and absolutely nothing has happened to him. Yeah, so Setsuko explains to him, but yeah, so she says, yes, okay, so let's get this sorted. Setsuko says, hey, you having nothing happen to you here, it might not be that bad. I can tell you all sorts of stories about how much people in other worlds have suffered for, like the war between the New Federation, Zaft and AEG that's happening in this world even, it sucks. And then Renton says that he's only 14 years old and absolutely nothing's happened to him. And then Jessica's like 16 years old. Well, 14, I keep saying 16, but 14. And she says that she remembers being 14 years old and in the 1 year war. And then Renton tries to apologise. She says, no problem. She was a little bit like him when she was that age. But either way, the deal is Setsuko has been to lots of different cities and worlds that Renton didn't know about, and he'd love to hear the stories from this beautiful lady who's been all over the place. How you doing, fanboy, Miss Prime? Welcome to Goddamn Anyway. And Setsuko agrees to tell him some crazy stories. But you end first. And they talk about rivalry zones that all commerce and travel between surface and space are limited in a few areas, which is what this little bit is here, is rivalry zones. And rivalry zones are a layer of distortion in the atmosphere of the world after superposition of its constituent parallel worlds. Time-space instability within makes passage impossible, effectively severing commerce between surface and space. These zones are also responsible for a greenhouse effect, which raises the surface air temperature, causing a variety of serious damage. It can also refer inclusively to a world created by a space-time oscillation bomb, which I think. But Setsuko thinks about how the thinness of the rivalry zone allowed Zaft to build a forward base, because this is one of the zones where it's quite thin. Renton figures that Zaft hasn't paid much attention because it's a small shitty town of nowhere, and Setsuko doesn't know that for sure, but she thinks that it's good that this place is like this. And they mention trapars, the transposition light particles or whatever. But the lack of combat hasn't stopped Renton from not liking coordinators that much, because according to what he's seen on the UN, an attempted Zaft asteroid bombardment of the Earth released the energy that caused the Break the World incident in the first place. And Setsuko inwardly is like, dang it, the New Federation spread that propaganda to develop public support for hating coordinators. This is bullshit. But either way, since the rivalry zone is thin here, Setsuko wonders if the trapars are dense, and Renton's like, I don't know how it works. And Setsuko wonders what could be the connection between these things, but there's only one lift spot in the entire town that's actually decent. And Setsuko's like, wow, you love lifting, huh? And he's like, hell yeah, my greatest heroes are a group of lifters led by the godlike, charismatic Holland from the Gecko State. Alright, good. Alright. Hey fanboy, you say this is what happens when an idiot thinks his Mark 1 eyeballs are better than the computers for using a reality-oriented bomb. He didn't know that's what it was for, he was tricked into doing it! Kay is completely blameless in this one. I mean, he did just hit random buttons on it, but maybe they shouldn't have made a bomb that can do that if you can hit random buttons. But they explain how the Gecko State, all they do is travel around the world in search of the perfect liftways. They're the very image of freedom. And Setsuko's like, wow, what the heck? And Renton's been trying his hardest to perfect the cut-back drop turn. It's the most difficult of all lifting techniques. And the Holland could supposedly do it when he was 14, but he sucks and he can't. And when he can do it one day, then he'll be a member of the Gecko State, and the Holland will bring him in. It'll be brilliant. But we talk about trapars, transparent light particles, a mysterious invisible airborne particle given off by the scub coral. Unidentified life forms called skyfish gather where it's thickest. It's used as a power source. The trapars have become indispensable to human life. Lift boards are designed to reflect the particles and thereby become airborne. However, they are not always beneficial and can even be an active detriment to mankind. The Summer of Love phenomenon, which generated abnormal quantities of trapars, nearly destroyed the world. And then Renton talks about his compact drive, yeah, and the Ray Out magazine, which is the big lifting magazine. Yeah, the cutback drop, Holland could do it, whatever. Renton asks Setsuko what she's looking for in the UN, and she says it's just someone dear to her. And she's been looking for, she's been looking for someone. Renton asks if it's a boyfriend, and Setsuko says someone dear to her. And Renton says, and he's super impressed that Setsuko's travelled the world searching for someone important, and tells his sister that maybe they'll also get him out of town. And the UN unfortunately proved of little use, so Setsuko then went around asking verbally, and then sent Renton home with just some thanks. Axel noticed Renton daydreaming, tells him to give a hand fixing Setsuko's machine. And Renton's like, sure thing. And then he says, is it an LFO? And he says, no it isn't. He's like, it's fucking boring then, whatever. And then Axel says, all machines in the world are equally worthy of attention. You need to realise that if you're going to be a good mechanic. But Renton doesn't want to be a mechanic. Fuck you. And then Renton says, yo, stop making decisions for me. I'm my own dude. I don't want to be a mechanic. Fuck you. And Renton then says, then Axel says he doesn't mind what it is Renton does want to do. He could become a plank cutter or anything. He just needs to look at reality. Even though his father died a hero and his sister left to pursue her dream, aside from the world's getting mixed up, nothing's changed. And in the end, people who think dreams are the most important things are just fools. When suddenly, telltale sound of an LFO flying above. Oh shit, not just flying, it's falling! Wah! Yeah, Holland's the coolest dude in the world. He definitely won't punch me once every 20 minutes. But this is scenario 12, Blue Skyfish. Bonk. The LFO crashes. And Renton's like, what the heck, I don't recognise that. And then Axel will recognise it as the Nervash Type 0, the oldest model of LFO. Which is like lifting flying object, or like lifter flying object, or whatever it is, just doesn't matter. But Axel never expected to ever see one. And the cockpit opens and out pops Eureka. And she says, there's something wrong with this child, meaning Nervash, and Renton is like, whoa, wow! Yeah, so she's like, there's something wrong with this child, can you have a look at it? And Renton's like, wow, she's so cute! And then nearby, Holland's like, Eureka has successfully contacted the target. And he's like, why are we going through this trouble? Why don't we just walk up and ask him? You could have just asked the old man to fix it up without having to crash it over their house. Like, you even know Axel. And then his stoner who says he doesn't mind what the reason is, but Holland is pretty scared of meeting Axel again. And that's got Matthew's attention. He wants to know what could possibly be their leader's weakness. Like, he even calls him leader. And then Holland's like, shut it, shut it. Keep watching the surroundings. The Federation troops aren't the only rats sniffing our tail. So Setsuko comes back and is like, wow, you fixed it. And he's like, yeah, they don't have a reason to refuse. And he talks about, he says that this thing requires a specialised mechanic. And Setsuko's like, yeah, it's not like other machines. But Axel asks if there isn't someone he should, that Setsuko should be looking for. She's like, nah, unfortunately I was way off track and couldn't find a single clue. But Axel says, your machine's done, ready to go. But one thing is curious though. Some of the mech's functions have been purposely sealed. Okay, Setsuko doesn't get any of this shit, only Rand knows that. Only Rand is like, it's repair, but all it does is destroy. And doesn't know about that either. Setsuko's just like, oh yeah, thanks for fixing it, that's it. No, you're fine. But Axel has a feeling that this town's peace is about to be shattered once the Nervash and the girl are together with them. And then he asks that Setsuko leave town quietly so Renton doesn't know. And Axel just wants to give Renton a quiet life that he couldn't give to other relatives of his. Meanwhile, Renton's looking at the Nervash, is like, well, what the heck, how can you pilot it without a compact drive? Which is a man-machine interface. And Eureka is like, never had one in the first place. And it's like, how can it even move without it? Can I try installing one just as an experiment? And she's like, would that be alright? He's like, yeah, it may look young, but I'm a professional mechanic. Like he says, I'm a pro mechanic. And he's like, Pro's like, yeah, I'm good enough mechanic to know that even machines have heart to them. She's like, what do you mean good enough? Like, isn't that obvious? And then Renton inwardly is like, well, she doesn't even think the things I say is weird. She is my ideal woman. Even if she's a bit weird. But he puts the compact drive in, and nothing happens. So Eureka just says, uninstall it then, please. It was moving just fine without it, and she doesn't trust things she doesn't know. And then she says that just because, and Renton is like, oh yeah, and then she says, just because you trust something, no, doesn't mean it'll all work out. And more often than not, being too trusting can bring misfortune and even pain. It's like, ah, that's thanks for sharing. Then Axel comes in. And is like, so, you one of Holland's friends? And he says that he doesn't mind. He was saying he was ready to give something to whoever came over. And it's this thing, the Amita drive. And he's sure that's what she came for, and it's the thing that tore his family to pieces. And there it says Amita drive. So he tells her to take it and never show her face to him or Renton ever again. And then Renton's like, hey yo, you got no reason to be rude like that. And then Eureka says, something's coming! And then missiles. And here we have the new Federation army on the scene. And they've started just shooting the Nervash with missiles. And here's Dominic, who's like, what the heck? And here's the commander, Jurgens. And he sees no problem. They don't have any orders being told to keep the Type 0 safe. And as a member of the Information Bureau, Dominic can't approve such actions, but Jurgens is adamant that the Gecko State must go down, now, lest their actions further embolden the Titans. He tells Dominic to shut his mouth and remember what they taught him in the Academy. In the battlefield, Commander's orders take priority over all. And Dominic inwardly is like, goddamn Philistine. So Setsuko launches, tells Axel and Renton to run, because the army is here after the LFO. And Jurgens doesn't recognise that machine. So they search the database and they find that its pilot is tagged as wanted by the former United Nations Earth as a Titans in the Titans database as a traitor. And they say, oh, the ideology, to be sure, but now that the Titans are part of it, yeah, so he's annoyed that Titans want their own enemies to this world, but he'll take her out to rub their noses in it, show them who's the real elite force around here. And Setsuko makes note how Axel's repairs have allowed her to apply the data of the Virgola 3 to the number 1, so she'll be able to use the Jack Carver again. Yurika gets on board the Nerve Ash and gets ready to fight. Says, this is the pilot of the Virgola, Tetsuko Hara. And Yurika's like, alright, fine, whatever. And Renton is like, dang, is my backyard turned into a battlefield? But Nerve Ash, let's go. But here's the Nerve Ash Type 0, which is like probably the best unit in the game. It's grossly powerful. And Yurika is really, really good. It doesn't have it yet, but it gets a really powerful map attack with 7 swell. Good. Good. But she can use the Jack Carver again, so all's well. And we don't know what the SR point is yet. And I'm pretty sure that she's fine. Look at this shit, look at this shit. Landed this huge fucking spaceship here. This good point is hidden well, be relatively close to the southeast corner of the map. Well, southeast is like down here. That's fine. It's sort of where I want it to be anyway. I'm gonna fly over here. Go whoosh. And they're squads, but Yurika's good. And now here she is. Nerve Ash, is there still something wrong with you? Don't worry though, I'll protect you. I forgot how annoying this music is. Like the start of it. So I'm gonna have to change that. Let's go, Nerve Ash. Look at this little jiggly dude. He's having a good time. Covered in guns and missiles and shit. Turf is up. I gotta change it. What about Sakura? It's a bit serious. Yeah, days will do. Just anything other than that, because the cut in and out is really irritating. Yeah, go on, 3. And the unique skill that Yurika has, like Lifter or whatever, it gives you increasing accuracy and evasion per level and double image. Up to like 40% or something. Yeah, like the loop is a bit quick, isn't it? Like you can look at those going. Yeah, you get him with that boomerang. That dude died as he lived, interlaced. Wanna go, son? And I gotta go right to the bottom for the sets to go. I'll complete with Virgola. I'll complete the Virgola together with the first lieutenant. I can't die before that. I'll live on. Look at these dudes shooting up and down based on where we are. Nice work, Setsuko. You just got fucking shot. Yeah, that's fine. Because you're going to shoot these nerds and then run away. Charge complete. Go! I'm not incredibly pleased with how that looks as it moves. Like, it's just this super slow, swirly ball of stuff. Yeah, lift to level 4, which I don't think gets you double image yet. I think level 5 is the first one that gets you double image. She has SP regen as well though, so her focus only costs 5, really. She's really good. She's really good! Yeah, you put one foot on 2 pedals like that and mess up your ankle. Right, you're Gecko state, mate. Freaking Gecko state. If only I could just get both of them. We'll get one of them. Yeah, go, do it, go! Glory stars, go, glory stars.
当たってくれたみたい。変則的な動きに惑わされたらやられる。カードの出力が上昇していく。レイストレイターレッドファイ
Ray stray turret. Fire. Just murdered that dude. Gonna murder that dude too. But now she's like actually out of juice, like perfectly out of juice. It's fine. I should have upgraded her energy. That would have been alright. Meanwhile, at the Thurston home, Axel is a little bit injured from the nearby explosion, but he asks Renton what happened to the nerve ash. Renton says it's fight in the army, and then Axel tells him to take the ammeter drive, the most important part of the compact drive, to Eureka. If it's plugged into the nerve ash, it'll open the Satori and truly awaken the LFO. But at least that's what Renton's dad said. He's like, my dad, he's like, go, use this and destroy them all! In Zen Buddhism, the opening of Satori, which is often introduced with Kensho, refers to obtaining insight into your true nature, and is the first step on the way to enlightenment and achieving Dharma. I didn't have to friggin' Google that. I'm glad they Dr. Peps put it in there. Meanwhile, Holland asked if Eureka's safe, and he tells her that she needs to be careful because the nerve ash isn't at its best. Tetsuko's then like, wow, these must be the Gecko State Renton told me about. And then Holland tells Eureka to stand down and let everybody handle the rest. But Holland over there, what, we're in the middle of battle? Is that a boy? And here's Renton. I'm not doing something this crazy because Grandpa said so. I just have to tell that girl what I couldn't tell her before. What you told me back then, that when I believe in something, the power of that belief turns into reality. And I believe right now, that's why. Let's go, Renton. Let's go, me. Fly to where she is. He runs towards the cliff. That kid. No way. Hurry, Nervesh. Don't beg, earn it. Then it'll be given to you. I can fly, he did it. Cut back, drop, turn. He's... You... I did it! I really did it! I did a cut back, drop, turn! Eh? And it's thanks to you. I pulled it off because of you. You're the best. I love you. Huh? I could do it because you were here. That would have been impossible without you. I really love you. And here's Matthew, who confesses their love in the middle of a mess like this. But Eureka's smiling. That kid, he Diane's. What do we do, Holland? Protect Eureka and kick the military's asses. Roger that. How about you, Eureka? Understood, Holland. Eureka? And that's Holland? No way! He's Holland and I'm Eureka, yes. Eureka! You're Eureka, a member of the Gecko State! I'm Renton Thurston! Let's go then, Renton. Yes! It's alright, the Novash is happy that you're here. The LFO's happy? Alright, here we go! Hold on, wait a minute! Let's dance, Nervash. And is Renton. It's Renton. He's a sub-pilot for now. And it's got a new move that she can't use until lift technique or whatever. Yeah, lift technique level 5. But it's good. And here's the Gecko State squad in the Terminus 909. It's good. And then the other two who are pure support. Like this one's okay, Hilda and Matthew. Matthew is just a fucking plane with arms and legs. But like they're pretty much identical. Her thing's a little bit like extra range on this for less range on that, but stronger. They're pretty regular. Will up on dodge, commander, support defense, support attack, and the focused attack thing will up on dodge. Like, they're just the same. Don't matter. Wide so we can get all of them. Thank you very much. That kid just now, his eyes were just like hers. Is he a little brother? Eh? You say something, leader? Nothing. First off, take out these guys and keep Eureka safe. I need to change their friggin' something. And here's Holland, the Ariel such as fuck you up. There we go. And you too. No, that one, there you go. So now I never have to listen to that guitar intro. Fucking me up. And this battleship's a dodgy one, but it's still a battleship, so it's not super brilliant at it, but it'll do. Sort of, it will go over this direction. Ah! It's alright, I'll protect you with the nerve ash. And then it totally exists. I'm just no good. The girl I like is protecting me. I'm an embarrassment as a man. But all this shaking, this whiplash, I can't take it much more. Goodbye! Alright then. This is like when Eureka 7's at its best. When Renton's a stupid fucking idiot. And everybody knows it. And he's just really goofy. But then he makes him be the fancy boy, and you're like, oh, no. But he sucks. And then I need to move her a couple of steps away. There.
7A2 で
しまった、死体が。
Any rows of him? Tried to read some Gundam manga and it was one of those confusing you've ever read with a god massacre and time travel smash take warrior god or something. Well, what you've done there is gone to hell. And read Mazinger. And there's goddamn Mycenae. Goddamn ancient Greek shit everywhere. Goddamn Zeus. How you doing? Is he surfing like Eureka 7? Very similar to Eureka 7. Yeah. It's Holland from Eureka 7. And Eureka and written in here too. Is Eureka 7 Gundam? No. I mean, we'll use the. We'll save the energy. But Eureka 7 is certainly a robot. Unless it gets into Super Robot Wars. Because it's not a Gundam game, it's Super Robot Wars. Mega Mondo crossover hell. Yeah, they're surfer robots? Not sure why that would exclude them. They're robots, they're robots, they're allowed in the Super Robot War. We had Big O earlier too. I mean, he doesn't surf, but he's there too. He's Batman. Code Geass is not in this game, but it's in the sequel to this game. It's in Z2, and it's really plot critical. It's super important. Lelouch is like one of the most important people in Z2 and Z3. Yeah, really. I'll be playing that once I'm done with this one. So you'll be able to see all the bullshit. Evangelion is not in Z2 or Z1, but it's in Z3, and it's in the Alpha series as well. And in Z3, it's not plot important at all. It's thematically important, but it's not plot critical. And in it, Shinji has a nice time. He has a really good support network because all the characters from all the other shows are just really nice to him and help him get over his problems. It's really good. In Z3 Rose of him, Lelouch, in fact, talks to Gendo, Shinji's dad, and says, "I know a thing or two about bad dads, and you are the worst one I've ever seen. I'm taking Shinji with me." And just walks out with him. And then Fuyutsuki, Gendo, Shinji's dad's assistant man, is like, "Are you going to do anything about that?" And Gendo's like, "No, it's fine. We'll get him back when we need him." Who the hell treats Shinji the slightest bit like? That kid needs to get beat the fuck up. Wow, I didn't know that you were a fucking monster from goddamn Double Murder Death Hell, but here we are. Oh, what we got? Yeah, I'll do that. You fucking hate. I can't believe you hate Shinji. How can you hate Shinji? How could anyone hate Shinji?
タルファ軍のお出ましだ。
二度と追ってこれないようにしてやるわ。あるだけのミサイルぶち込んでやるわ。
タルフォ頼むから無駄だ。
The guy has a horror of every single type, but he just cries. Wow, Did you see Evangelion? Did you see it? See how... Wait, is it that's bad? And he doesn't have a cute boy to fuck.
結構ステートなの。
Kaoru doesn't even last a single episode. Nice work, Talon. Hell yeah, he did. Kaoru and Shinji #1 every time. The episode that's in literally ends with Shinji crying, saying that he loved Kaoru. Absolutely 100% #1.
あなたたちにポランドの邪魔はさせない。よくわからないけどしかないみたいだね。行こう、ニルバーシュ。
Get him, Eureka.
どうやらまともな武装は積んでいないらしい。
But yeah, like there's the you recreate the bit in Evangelion where he has to snipe the angel, and like 3 people come up to him, like the 2 snipers come up to him, like Michelle and Kurtz come up to him and like, here's this thing, we got this thing, it's a guide to sniping Eldritch Horrors, we've been through this before, so here's your sniping guide, and a couple of others bring him some lunches that people have made to keep him going. Adaptable as a panda and handles any hardship with the grace of a 6-year-old. I don't know. I mean, I haven't been through what Shinji's been through, but I don't think you can really describe that as any hardship. There. He handled it with the grace of a 6-year-old. I think he handled that in a pretty reasonable way. Well, I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm the crazy one. But yeah, like it's got Simon from Gurren Lagann helping Shinji out and not have a bad time. So it's not the Shinji you know and love. He blames his dad for not being there when his mom died. He finds out he was saving the world. Pretty decent excuse to stand up watching your wife die. But none of that's not what happened in Evangelion at all. Are you sure? I think you didn't. I think you watched something different. Because that's not what happened in Evangelion. Holy shit! That is definitely not what happened in the Evangelions. Holy moly! I'll be honest, I rage got halfway through. Oh, so you don't know how Shinji, how, like, do you know that Shinji's robot that he pilots has got his mother's soul in it, like her conscious and soul in it? And she did that on purpose and just went fuck it all and went in it? and everything Gendo does is to try and get his wife back, and he's completely